Hey everybody, it's Christopher Small, the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Today, I want to talk to you about whether or not in a probate case, the heirs have to pay inheritance tax. Before I get to that though, I want to remind you, if you have any questions related to this topic or anything else related to probate or estate planning, and in fact, you can go to probatemeeting.com, set up a time to talk with us over the phone for free, probatemeeting.com. Okay, this is a common question that is asked, when someone passes away, they're looking to do a probate, or they just have questions in general about inheritances. They want to know about inheritance tax. So before I get to whether or not inheritance tax applies to anyone, let me first explain what an inheritance tax is and sort of the difference between an estate tax and an inheritance tax. They're sort of the same, but they're not exactly the same. So an estate tax is a tax that is sort of pulled out before distributions are made. All right, so let's say I died, I had $1 million in my estate, and I was going to give that $1 million to my kids, and there's a tax owed. Okay, the way that the estate tax works is the $1 million would go into an estate bank account, the estate would pay taxes, and then whatever's left would be distributed out to my kids. Okay. An inheritance tax works differently. That $1 million would go into the estate bank account. The $1 million would be distributed out to my kids, and then the kids, each kid would be responsible for a certain amount of inheritance tax based on what they received. All right, that makes sense? Inheritance tax versus estate tax. In Washington State, in particular, there is no inheritance tax. Okay, there is an estate tax here that you need to be mindful of. It starts at $2.193 million. So if your assets are over that, you might want to talk to someone like me or some other estate planning attorney to figure that out. But there is no inheritance tax. There is an inheritance tax, I think, in 1 or 2 states in the United States. Not very many. Most states don't have an estate tax or an inheritance tax. A couple do. I think Iowa might be one of them. They might be the only one. I know I know Oregon has an estate tax. But if you Google it, you will find out really quickly. Just Google your state and inheritance tax, and it will tell you right away. All right. The other thing to think about that people ask me a lot about when it comes to taxes, and I might as well just talk about it here real quick, are other types of taxes, income tax, things like that. When someone dies, all of the property that they own, all the stocks that they own, all the real estate that they own, it gets what's called a step up in basis. Okay, so if what I'm going to tell you right now doesn't make sense, Google step up in basis, and you'll sort of get some information on that. Basically, when you buy something like a house, you take it has a tax basis of what you paid for it. So if I bought a house 20 years ago and it cost me $100,000, the tax basis of that house is $100,000. If it's now today worth $1 million and I would sell that house, I would owe tax on the appreciation of that, which is the 100 to the million, right? So $900,000 of appreciation, I would potentially have to pay some capital gains income tax on that. The cool thing about, although there's nothing cool about dying, the cool thing for your heirs when you die is that they get what's called a step up in basis. So using that example, if I died and gave my house to my kids, then the house that originally had a tax basis of $100,000 and a value of $1 million today, they would get a tax basis of $1 million. So if they sold that house, they wouldn't have to pay any tax on that $900,000 of gain. Any gain that happened after that, so if they held on to it and it became worth $2 million, they would have to pay tax on the gain from $1 million to $2 million, but that's it, okay? Income tax, there is no other income tax really owed unless you have retirement accounts. Those retirement accounts owe tax when they're sort of withdrawn, no matter who withdraws them, okay? Because the pre-tax dollars, when they go in, you're paying some tax when they come out, okay? That's just how it goes. All right, so hopefully that answers your question about inheritance taxes and probate. If it did not, you can always reach out to us. You can go to probatemeeting.com, set up a time to talk with us over the phone for free, probatemeeting.com. As always, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you know someone needs to hear it, please share it with them. If you have a question or comment, please leave it. And that's it. I am Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you again soon. See ya.